Hello, welcome back to Bxoft. So today we are diving into something fundamental yet powerful in the world of web development, that is RESTful APIs. So if you are building web applications or even just curious about how apps communicate with each other, so then this is the right place to start. So let's break it down together step by step. So let's cover the basics first. So what exactly is an API? Well, API stands for Application Programming Interface. In a very simple manner, it's a set of rules that lets different software entities communicate with each other. Now, let me give you a real life example. So imagine you are at a restaurant. So the APIs are like a waiters who takes your order and deliver it to the kitchen and bring your food back. So you are familiar with this scenario and you faced this thing multiple times. So they are actually the bridge between the customer and the kitchen and making sure everything works smoothly. So let's back to the basics. So let's focus on the REST. So the REST stands for Representational State Transfer. Which is scary for you. Don't worry, just make it simple. The key idea here is the simplicity and the scalability. The second point, RESTful APIs follows a stateless architecture. So what is stateless? Stateless means each request from a client to a server must contain all the information that server needs to fulfill the request. It means that no session information is stored on the server. It's amazing. Okay, the third point. RESTful APIs use standard HTTP methods like get, post, put, delete, batch, and option head. There are many others. I just mentioned few of them here for understanding to perform operations. And resources are identified via URLs. It's like having a universal language that everyone in the kitchen and the dining area understand, as per the previous example. Okay, so how do the RESTful API actually work? Let me give you an example. Imagine your client, maybe a web app or mobile app, sends an HTTP request to a server. This could be asking for some data or telling the server to do something. So the server then processes this request and sends back a response, usually in JSON format. So now the question is, what is JSON format? So JSON is just a way to format data, making it easy for both human and machine to read. So this back and forth is what powers so many of the apps and websites we are using in a daily life, in every day. So okay, let me make it more understandable with the real world example. So suppose you want to get a current weather data for your city, for your country, or for your area. So there is a weather API that you can call using a simple GET request by passing some parameters. So here's what it might look like. So you send this request and the API respond with the data like the current temperature, weather, condition, and humidity in the JSON format. So the response could look something like this. And I hope it's very clear for you, and with just a few lines of code, you have got the real-time weather data and you can use in your app or anywhere. So I hope it's clear for you now. Okay, so designing the RESTful API isn't just about making them work. It's about making them work well as well, in a very perfect manner as well. So here are a few best practices to keep in mind. First of all, use meaningful resource names in URLs. Instead of something generic, use descriptive names that reflect the resource you are interacting with actually. So the second point is that keep it stateless. As we mentioned in the previous slide and earlier, make sure each request from the client contains all the information that server needs to process it. Okay, the third point. Use appropriate HTTP status code. These are super helpful for communicating success, failure, or error in your API calls. So it's very important. And the fourth point is document your API thoroughly. Good documentation is always a lifesaver for anyone who needs to use your API. So make it easy to understandable for the other developers. Okay, to wrap things up, remember that APIs are all about communication. It's all about communication between different software systems. So the RESTful API in particular are simple, scalable, and stateless, making them ideal for web development. We explored how you can use in real-world scenarios, like fetching weather data, and we covered some best practices for designing your own API. I hope this gives you a solid foundation to build on. So always keep experimenting and learning. It's the best way to grow in your tech journey. So thanks for watching, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and leave a comment below with your thoughts or questions as well.